So we are only a couple weeks out from our Disney World trip, and that means that it's time to start packing. Now, I am going to split this video into a couple of different ones just so that I don't have like a crazy long, like hour-long packing video. And in today's video, we're going to be going through the park bags. The next video will be maybe like the personal items for the plane, and then the third video will be everything all together just getting packed into the suitcases and stuff like that. But in these short videos, I'll be actually going through what is inside the park bag and all of that. So let's get into the park bags. So I do say park bags plural because I do have a couple of different bags that I bring with me. I have my one big park bag that sits on the back of the stroller and has majority of the things in it. But then I also have my little personal fanny pack bag that has really important things inside of it, like my phone and wallet, and then anything that I could need while I'm waiting in line or anything like that. So that is going to be the one that we're going to go through first. So this is my little fanny pack. I actually just got it. I really like it because it actually has two different compartments, which works really well for me, just because I'm going to have like camera equipment and stuff like that, so I can easily fit them in here. You know, some people prefer the big, large bags that just have like, you know, you can put just anything in there. I actually really like this one. This is by Carhartt. So it's really good quality. The material is water resistant, so that's really nice too. In my everyday life, this is my everyday bag. Like I usually wear it as a crossbody bag, but in Disney World, I prefer to wear it as a fanny pack, mainly because when I'm doing a lot of walking and stuff, I just don't like to have things on my shoulder or on my back. And also, I spent a lot of time and money trying to pick out shirts for Disney World. So I don't really want to cover up the shirt that I chose to wear to the parks. It's just my personal preference. I'd rather have my fanny pack down below so that you can see my shirt, and so I don't have things hanging on my shoulder. So let's get inside what is actually in here. So in the main compartment, I like to keep a little personal fan. This can be for anybody who needs a little bit of coolness while we're waiting in line, or if we're not near the stroller where our other fans are. So I just like to keep this little guy in here. It's super thin and it's actually pretty powerful. I absolutely love this fan. We actually have a couple of them. So that's in there. And then I also like to keep my drink koozie for my iced coffees and lattes that I like to get. This one, of course, is Christmas themed. So I like to keep that in there just in case we're not with the stroller when I'm going to get my coffee. Just don't throw it out when you're throwing your cup out. Don't forget to take it off. So what I also have in here is this wallet. This is just kind of like a travel wallet. And as you can see, another reason why I really like this bag is that it has one of those like keychain clips. And I was always so nervous, like, because I did used to use those big fanny pack bags that just had like a hole, like, you know, it was just like an open space. And I would always get so nervous that my wallet would fall out while I'm reaching for something. So this way, this stays attached in here. It would be kind of hard for it to just fall out without me noticing anyway, but it does give me a little peace of mind just to have it hooked on there. So that is in there. Here, let me just unhook it so I can just have a little bit more space in here. And it's hard to take off, so it's not going anywhere. So another thing that I like to keep in this bag is anything that I'm bringing to like a certain park that goes along with that park. So I have this set for Magic Kingdom, and actually in here I have my kids' letters to Santa, because you can go to the Christmas shop over in Liberty Square, and they have a special mailbox that you can send your letter to Santa. So I'm going to keep those in this bag because when we're going to go into the store, it's going to be easily accessible. Now, when we're in some place like Epcot, I also like to bring little, they're almost kind of like brochures that are for each country, and they tell you a little bit about each country, and you can get, they can put those like stickers that they get, you can put it right on there. So those would stay in this bag as well. And then also in the back here, there's another zipper spot. So in here, I have my phone charger. This is just one of those chargers that have the little pieces that come out. I absolutely love this charger. So that stays in my bag, so it's easily accessible. If I just want to quickly charge something up, you know, maybe while we're waiting in line, or if we're at, you know, eating at a restaurant or something like that, I can just quickly do that while we're there. And then I also like to keep a couple of Band-Aids and like wound wipe in there. I do have a larger first aid kit that I keep in the big park bag, but accidents can happen anywhere. Someone can trip and fall while you're waiting in line and need a Band-Aid, and you don't have your stroller with your big park bag with all the first aid stuff in there. So I do like to keep a couple of Band-Aids in here, and obviously if you need to use them, don't forget to replenish when you get back to your bag, so just in case it happens again at another time. So also in here, I like to keep my powder sunscreen. I absolutely love this stuff. I've been using this for years and it works so great. So what I use this for is actually for our faces. I use the regular sunscreen spray on the rest of our body, but for our faces, I love to use the powder. It definitely, the kids don't mind having it put on. It doesn't feel greasy or oily or sticky, and it can go on so fast. Like when we're waiting in line for a ride is the perfect time to just reapply really quick, you know, just a quick reapply to the face, but don't forget to reapply the arms and legs too when you get back to the stroller. But it's just a quick, you know, a nice quick way to do that. And then also just, you know, keeping just like a little lip gloss or chapstick in here for me as well. So obviously in this front pocket, you know, I do like to keep a couple of my camera equipment in here. And what I really love about this is that it's actually soft and padded. So you could put your phone in here if it's, you know, if it would fit in here. I do just keep my phone in the big spot, but I do really like that this is nice and padded, a nice padded area that you could put your cell phone in there. And then it also has this little Velcro spot in the front here. I don't really use that too much just because I don't like that it's not a zipper. So it always makes me nervous that things are going to fall out. But you could just put, you know, something small in there. I actually probably could put like the Band-Aids and stuff in there if you wanted, you know, and make it a little bit more accessible. So that is what stays on me all the time. So when I'm not with my stroller, I always have the things that are, you know, like my wallet and my phone are always going to be on me. And then I'm always going to have things that we could use in the line. And oh, another thing that I also put in here that I forgot is glow sticks. I usually have glow sticks in here. You know, I do keep them in the park bag as well, but if we're going on something like the People Mover that's going to be dark, sometimes the kids like to have glow sticks with them. So I do like to keep a couple in the bag as well. So the next bag that I like to bring is this bag here. It's really large. I probably could have gone with the smaller size. This is from Amy's Small World. Unfortunately, their shop has closed, so you can no longer get these bags, but hopefully there's someone out there that can pick up a similar design because these bags are so great. They have a nice hanging hook that unbuckles, so you can hang it to your stroller. You can snap it onto your park bag when you need to get onto a bus or something so that you're not carrying so many things. But what really is great about these bags, it's like a very thick plastic. So I like to keep our rain gear in here. So what I have in here is in this wet bag is actually our stroller cover. So I do keep that in here just because the type of stroller rain cover that I have is kind of hard to kind of like pack up. If I had one that could easily like bunch up, I would just throw it in here. But it's a little bit hard to like kind of put together. So I just keep that in there. So then I also have you know, ponchos. The kids' raincoats are not in here yet. I'm gonna put those in there as well as my husband's. I prefer a poncho, so I have my poncho in here, but my kids and my husband prefer raincoats, so those are going to go in here as well. I have my umbrella, and then I also like to bring water shoes for the kids. So I have my son's and my daughter's water shoes in here. And the reason that I like to do that is because there are a couple of parks that have little splash areas. There's the Moana Journey of Water in Epcot where you can get a little wet. And then there's also Casey Jr.'s splash play area in Magic Kingdom where you can get very wet. So I like to just switch the shoes out into their water shoes. They can go and play. We'll have an extra change of clothes as well. And then we can put their dry shoes back on. So I do like to have those in there. And a lot of the things that I'm going to have here, they can get transferred. Like I said, you can clip this onto the stroller. You can put it underneath the stroller in the basket. Not everything has to be like hanging on the handlebars or anything like that. So, but this one is kind of big. Like I said, I wish I had a smaller version of it. But this will go right under the stroller into the basket. Okay, so the next one we're gonna go into is actually my daughter's little crossbody bag that she likes to wear. This is her Christmas patterned one. I actually bought it for myself, but then I decided, like I said, I didn't want to have a bag that just has a big opening. I liked the more organization. So I gave this one to her and she's so excited. So she gets to have her own bag. So I just wanted to quickly go over what my 9-year-old daughter is going to have in her bag. Now, we are the type of family that I am going to rent a stroller for my daughter in the park, one of those plastic park strollers. She's not going to be in it all the time, but if she gets tired, she has a place to rest. And also, honestly, this time of year when it gets dark early, I honestly would feel so much more comfortable having her sit in the stroller, especially if it's crowded and dark. It just makes me feel better having both kids in the strollers, so we know where they are. I feel like it can be easier to kind of get separated if it's dark and crowded. So we're going to have them in the stroller. So this just gives her a couple of things in here for her to do while she's in the stroller. Or if we need to like book it to the other side of the park, or we're going around Epcot and she's bored and wants to just sit in the stroller and maybe eat something. But she also has some stuff in here that she can use while she's in her stroller. Now, my son is also going to have a bunch of stuff for him, but his stuff goes in the little side sling bag that we have attached to the stroller. So his stuff is going to go in there. So I don't really have that in a separate bag for him. So those things are going in there, but they're just, little kid things. He does have his own little camera. He's going to have one of those little Mickey fans, just a couple of little things that he can check out while he's in the stroller. So in here, my daughter packed this herself. She is very proud of it. She has her sunglasses. Now in here, she said she wanted to bring some of her magnet people. So these are just little magnet guys that stick together. And not only did she just want to bring the magnet people, but she also decided in here that she is going to bring this metal lid. Now, I'm not sure if we're going to bring this now that I'm thinking about it, because it's probably going to set off the security alarms. But her idea was that she can hold this and then she can have her little magnet people on here, and she can kind of like make little designs like that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't want to be setting off the security alarm with a metal tin case here. So I'm really going to have to think about that. But I love that she came up with that idea. And then she also has in here, she has a little Mickey fan as well. So she keeps hers in her bag so she can have it when she's in the stroller. And then she has her little camera. She absolutely loves this little camera. It works great. She loves to take pictures of things. She loves to take videos of things. So she is going to have a ball with this. And she also has a little LCD writing tablet. She loves to draw, and we figured that it would be easier for her to have something like this opposed to like crayons or things like that could easily fall out. So this way she can just use this, just make little designs, and everything stays together in one piece. So that is what is in her bag. And now we're going to get into the big park bag. Okay, so this is my big giant park bag that we're bringing with us. It feels so big to me with so much stuff in it, but honestly, I'm so glad that this bag fits everything in it. And I kind of went through this bag in my stroller video that I did recently about the things that I'm going to be bringing for my stroller. And I absolutely love this bag. It folds up really small and I love it. So if you want to see more about this bag, go check out that video because I'm not going to go into the actual bag right now. But so let's get into what is actually in here. So we're going to start with this front pouch here. So this is where I like to keep my first aid stuff because it's easily accessible. So I have all of I also have sunglasses in here. Sunglasses too for me and my son. And this is my little pouch that has our first aid stuff in it. So it has all the extra Band-Aids, all the wound wipes. I even have this rapid seal, which works really, really well. If someone's bleeding, you can just rub this on there and it stops the bleeding right away. And then you can put a Band-Aid over it. I also have antibiotic stuff to put on cuts. But so that is where I like to keep my first aid kit, is right in the front so that it's easily accessible, like I said. So that stays in there. And then we're going to get into the main compartment of the bag. So like I mentioned in the other video, my stroller video, when I was talking more about why I liked this park bag, is because the last time we went, I had a bag that was a backpack, and it was broken down into different zippered compartments, which I thought was going to be really great. It'd have some more organization. But what I found was that each compartment couldn't really fit larger items. So what I decided to do instead was to find a bag that has a big open space, and instead I was going to use other things. It does have pockets on the inside where I'm going to put things in, but everything that I have kind of is in its own little pouch and bag. Now, like I mentioned before, some stuff that's in here will be transferred to other sections of the stroller, whether it's underneath or in that little side sling that I was talking about. So right on top, we have this bag actually has hats and gloves in it because we're going in December, and early mornings and in the evenings, once the sun goes down, it can get chilly. So I would much rather be prepared with hats and gloves than not have anything at all and have all of us be freezing cold. So, and especially since I'm not going to be packing like jackets, we're going to have sweatshirts, which I think will be fine, especially paired with hat and glove. If you're extra cold, a sweatshirt and hat and gloves can keep you really warm. So that is what is in here. And then I also have our little hand warmers in here as well. If it gets really cold, each kid can have one. They warm up really nicely. They're rechargeable. So I'll make sure that they're nice and charged for the day, and they will last all day, and they're really nice to just stick in your hand, because if each kid has one, they can go like this and warm up their hands. So I have these. So I have basically all of our cold winter gear stuff in here, and this will probably get transferred to the bottom of the stroller. So stuff that I'm really not going to be using all the time is going to kind of get transferred to the bottom of the stroller or in that side sling that I was talking about. Because my son's toys and stuff will be in the side sling, but he doesn't have so much stuff that it's going to take up that whole space. So I could just stick this in the side sling, and he'll still have plenty of room to put his stuff in. So then also what's on top here is another wet bag that has full of change of clothes for both of my kids. Now, I especially like these wet/dry bags because in the front here is another separate pocket where you can keep the dry clothes. That way, if something gets wet, and not everything gets wet, like maybe someone's socks are just wet, you can throw the wet socks in this main compartment, and then everything else in this compartment stays dry. So you don't have to worry about taking everything out of here and trying to find another spot for it so it doesn't get wet when you put the wet clothes in there. So I especially like the wet dry bag. So that has a change of clothes for the kids, and it doesn't matter what age your kids are, you should always have a change of clothes because you just don't know what can happen. I mean, even if they just get wet from one of the splash areas or a ride, even, you know, if they're going on Tiana's Bayou and they get wet, and especially if it's not summer and hot, they can get really cold with wet clothing on. So it would be nice to be able to change into something dry. Okay, next up, I have my kids' headphones in here. Now, I really am only going to pack these in here on days where we're going to be seeing fireworks. So that would really only be for like Magic Kingdom and Epcot. You know, I don't really need to pack these if we're going to Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios where they don't have fireworks at night. So these are really, like I said, they're only going to be in there for 2 days. So, but there is room for them in here when I do need to pack them. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of try to show you what the bag looks like on the inside with all this stuff in there. So there is an open spot in the middle, but then it does have these really large side pockets, which I absolutely love. And this one, the side pocket on this side spans the whole bag, and it can button in the middle. And then on this side, these are 2 separate pockets. So that's kind of what we're working with here. So in the middle of the bag is where I kind of keep some like larger type stuff in there. I have this pouch, which this is where we keep all of our pin trading things. So this, I'm actually really excited about our new pin trading boards that I got for us. So I have one for me, my son, and my daughter. My husband doesn't really do a lot of the pin trading, but I absolutely love these. These are the new little pin boards that I got. We have one each color for me, my daughter, and my son. He already has his pins on here ready to go. So these are so cute, and these are going to have the pins that we want to trade. So these are not going to be for every single pin, just the ones that we want to trade. So if we open up a mystery pack or anything like that, and we find ones that we want to trade, they're going to go on this board. Now, the ones that we want to keep, they are going to go in this little pouch here. So this is just another one of those clear pouches with the fabric on the back. I absolutely love these bags. I have a ton of these bags. So the pins that we want to keep are going to go in here. And then everything goes into this pouch, this pink pouch. And then also what I have in here, which doesn't really make sense, considering this is a pin bag, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put them at the moment. They are these little water bottle converters. Sometimes when you're at like a quick service or something like that and you get just like a plastic bottle of water, or especially I'm going to be using this a lot on the plane, in the airport, you just stick this into the bottle mouth and then it becomes kind of like more like a sports bottle top. So this will be really great for my 4-year-old who will just, if he tries to chug a plastic bottle of water with no control, it's going to get everywhere. So these I just kind of have stuck in there. I might find another spot for them, but for now they're just kind of in there. So that is what's in this pouch here. So what I also have in here are my kids' restaurant bags. So they each have their own little restaurant bag, again, with these bags. I'll link this shop down below. These are actually from Etsy. I absolutely love these bags. But I have one each for my son and daughter, and they just have little things in here that they like to play with at the restaurant while we're waiting for our food, or really anywhere that we're going to be waiting. So those stay in the bag, and I take them out if we're going to like a sit-down restaurant or something. I don't always want to bring my giant park bag, so I can just easily take these out and bring them into the restaurant. Also just have in here a bag with a couple of pull-ups and wipes for my son. I can easily just pull this out of the bag if we need to go for a change. It's that simple. It just sticks right in there in the side pocket. And then also in this little side pocket that I keep this little bag. This is actually a waterproof blanket. So I'm wondering if maybe it should go in with my rain gear. I don't know. I might just keep it in this bag, but we'll see. Anyway, this is the coolest little blanket ever. It's waterproof, so if you are wanting to maybe like sit in the hub grass and it just rained, this blanket opens up so big, and you know, you can just lay it down on the grass and you'll be able to sit down and eat if that's what you want to do, or you could even put it down on the sidewalk if you're waiting for the parade or fireworks or anything like that, just to kind of keep yourself off of the pavement. And then you could also use this if it had just rained and you want to go on a ride. You can kind of put this down underneath you. Don't forget to pick it back up when you leave. Then another little bag that I like to keep in here is just this little reusable bag, just in case there's some things that we have that aren't going to fit in the bag, like if we have souvenirs or things like that and we need to get them out of the stroller or anything. I can just open this up, and the pouch actually stays with it, and you just open it up. You can throw things in there, and you know, if you're ready to leave for the night and you have a couple of things thrown in your basket and they won't fit in your park bag, that way you have some place to put it when you need to fold up your stroller for the transportation. Okay, so that was the first little pocket on the side. So now we're going to move on into the next pocket, which they're not little. They're actually really big pockets, as you can tell. There's a lot of stuff that can fit into these. So in this pocket is where I keep our sunscreen sprays. I absolutely love the Blue Lizard for my kids. My kids have really sensitive skin, so this stuff works great with them. I've been using Blue Lizard for a long time, and the spray works great. And then this is just the one that my husband and I use, just your typical sun balm. So that is in there. And then also in here is my meds pouch. Now, I used to use one of those foldable like compartment, like a meds case kind of thing more, but I found that the little compartments are just too small for what I like to use. So instead, I use this little bag. This is actually from Petunia Pickle Bottom. It comes with their intermix set. So I think you can purchase these separately, but I'm not sure. So, but I absolutely love these bags. But anyway, what I like to keep in here, so what I did, instead of having the meds compartment, little compartment thing, I got these little med bottles and printed out labels for each thing with just like a very quick direction on here. So I was able to fit so much stuff in here. You know, like I have adult cold medicine and children's Tylenol and children's cold medicine and all the stuff that you need. And then I also like to have these Tylenol packets, and I actually just realized I like to keep these in my fanny pack as well. I usually keep 2 of these in my fanny pack, and because what I love about these, and most of the ones in here are either chewables or things like that, because sometimes you don't have water with you, or like if you're like me and you don't like to swallow pills, these are so great. This is Tylenol for adults. This is not for kids. And it's actually a dissolve pack. So it's like if you, you know, if you used to have those like sugar tubes, like the sugar straws that you would like pour on your tongue and it would dissolve, that's what this is. So you basically just pour it on your tongue and let it dissolve, and you have your Tylenol. And I absolutely love that, especially if you don't have water. So if you're in line and all of a sudden you're getting a really bad headache, you can go ahead and do that without having your water with you, which I really love. So also in here, I have just like a Tide to Go, and also a like an off itch bug thing in case you get bitten by a bug, something like that. So those are in here. I also have my son's like liquid Tylenol is in here as well. So you can really fit so much stuff in here, and then you have it with you in the park. And then I also, you know, in the resort, I also have the full bottles in case we need to do a refill. Hopefully you never have to do that, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. So that, and also what I love love about bringing meds with you, because you can go to the first aid center and get, you know, like a typical Tylenol or an Advil. But sometimes, especially with kids, you know, they're used to a certain kind of medicine. And if you try to give them a different kind, it could make them sick. They might not want to take it. So in my experience, it's always good to bring things that they're familiar with, that you know they're going to take. Okay, so now we're going to move into the other side of the bag where that larger pocket is. So in here, I have the glow sticks, and like I said, you know, if we're going onto like the People Mover or a dark ride that the kids like to have their glow sticks with, I will take these out when I know we're going to be on that ride. I'll take them out of the bag, and then I'll stick them in my fanny pack so that we have them, and I don't have to worry about messing with the bag or anything like that while we're in line or on the ride. So, but I do keep them in here, and then I also keep, I actually don't have them in here right now, but I'm going to, they're going to be in the suitcase, but I have like the other kind that you can kind of like put into a necklace or a bracelet, because I do also like to wrap those around the stroller and stuff like that. So I do have those ones as well, but the kids really like these more wand type ones. I got these at Target. I haven't seen these in a long time in Target. I stocked up on them the last time they had them, because they haven't been there. So, but the kids really like these wand ones. And then I said that I like to wrap the glow sticks around the stroller, but I also actually like to wrap lights around the stroller when we're going to be there at night. And that's what's in this pouch. So I just have my star lights that are in here. They're battery powered, so they just wrap around the stroller. I have two sets, one for our regular stroller and then one for the rental stroller that we get for my daughter. So those just kind of wrap around. That makes it just easy to spot at night, because, you know, cast members can move your stroller around when you park it. So that kind of, I know a lot of other people do it too. So you can't just look for the light up stroller. But if you have like a stroller tag or something, that the lights will light that up, so you can kind of like see like, oh, okay, that looks like my stroller tag. Let me go over there. And the reason why I like to keep things in pouches like this is if I threw these lights, just like threw them in the bag, they would get all tangled and messed up into everything, and then we'd have a tangled mess when we wanted to put them on the stroller. So I like to keep them separate into this nice little pouch. So the last thing that I have in that side pocket are these reusable utensils. These are actually bamboo utensils. There's 4 of them, one each color. Everybody gets their own color. If you haven't brought your own utensils into the parks, I would recommend doing it. It seriously has saved us so many times when there's, you know, especially if you're at like the festival in Epcot, not, you know, they might even like run out of forks or knives. And even we've used it, like we get like a Gaston cinnamon roll and we want to split it up between us, but we've already left the restaurant and we're like, oh, we want to split this up. How can we do that? Well, we have a knife that we can use to easily cut it up. The kids can use the fork if they want. Sometimes my son likes to have things cut up into small pieces to use it with a fork. So we can easily do that with these utensils. When we're done with them, we put them back here, and I just give them a quick wash when we get back to the resort, and that's that. So these have really come in handy. Okay, so now we are into the middle of the bag, and there's actually not that much stuff in here. What I have in here to start are these little silicone collapsible bowls, and then I also have a little bit bigger ones. And the reason why I have these, I have the big ones because my kids are very picky. My son has food allergies, so we actually bring some food from home. I actually will make like French toast or something like that, and that's what they'll have for breakfast. Like when we're on our mode of transportation to the park, what I do is I put like the French toast or something in here. I actually go to the microwave down at the quick service location and warm it up. These are silicone, so they're microwave safe. They go straight into the microwave. You can warm it up, put a little butter on it, and then they have a nice breakfast while we are on the way to the park. And then when they're done, I can just collapse them up and stick them right back in the bag. And they also really come in handy sometimes too, where if you are at a restaurant or anywhere that you're eating and you don't want to finish what you're eating, but you want to save it for later, now you have some storage containers that you can put your food in and put it right in your bag and enjoy it later. And then that is what I use the bowls for too. The bowls I will use more for like if we want to share like a Dole Whip or ice cream or something that might be a little bit more messy, we can use the bowls. And then these can also obviously act as a storage container too, a little bit of a smaller one if you wanted to save some food for later. So these really do come in handy. And then the last thing that I have in here are stroller blankets. So this is my son's. It's a stroller blanket. This is for my daughter. This is actually the one that we use on the plane as well. I have another one of these that we use on the plane, but I figured, it's gonna be chilly at night, especially since they're gonna be in shorts and it's gonna get a little chilly. So why not just bring some blankets so they can be nice and warm in their stroller while we are walking through at night, and we don't have to hear complaining that they're cold or anything like that. We just already have some blankets for them to use. So that is what is in my big stroller bag. Now I did just want to mention this. So this is our sweatshirts. So this is separate because we are most likely going to be wearing our sweatshirts in the morning on the way to the park and then in the evening while leaving the park. So I'm not going to have it like this when we are entering the park or leaving the park. So what I can do is I can just bunch up this packing cube and just throw it in the park bag. And then when we don't need our sweatshirts anymore, after the morning, after it's warmed up, I'm gonna put them in here and stick it in the bottom of the stroller, because I figured I don't want the sweatshirts just thrown underneath. They can fall out, a sleeve can fall out and get run over or something. So I figured having just like a packing cube can just keep them contained when we are during the day when we don't need them. And then when we do need them in the evening, we can easily grab them and take them out. And then again, I can bunch up the packing cube and throw it in the bag when we're leaving the park and we have the sweatshirts back on. So that does it for the park bags. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely give it a thumbs up if it helped you out in any way. If you see something that you might want to get for yourself, I'm going to have everything linked down below. And definitely don't forget to subscribe. We have some trip videos coming up and some more packing videos, like I said. So until next time.